Hello again, good friends. Brian from Apex Detail. This is yet another installment or segment of Mail Call where I can answer your questions directly. So let's get right into this, and we're going to include yet one more top 3 year-end awards before I do the award series itself. And the category today will be paste wax, hard wax. I still use them. They're still great right before a show. Obviously, they're not going to last long, just like a quick detailer, but they will give it some extra depth and pop. So let's get right into this. Okay, the first question goes to Richard Tull, and he wants to know if the Extreme Solutions LVR 403, I just did a video on that, that's the black polish that has acrylic. It's the same thing as Angel Wax Perfect Polish. They're kind of a different beast. One is a cleaner polish, the Perfect Polish. The other one has a little bit different abrasives and lays down protection afterwards, a nice base coat of acrylic. If you're looking for something in the lines of Angel Wax Perfect Polish, LVR 367 is going to be right there in the same boat, in the same category. That's what I would recommend. All right, the next question goes to Don, and he's working on a 2014 Nissan Maxima, darker color. It's going to be thinner, it's going to be soft, and he wants to know what pad to team up with the polishes that he has. He has the dual action polisher from Bauer, and he wants to team that up with the LVR 403, we just talked about that, or the Turtle Wax Polish and Wax. You can kind of use the same pad for both of those polishes with the Bauer. And what pad would I recommend? That's going to be the Max Shine yellow pad. Very soft. And the yellow pad in their line, guys, is right above the finishing or application pad, which is white color in their line. So it's just one step above the least aggressive pad necessary, and that's exactly what I would use for the imperfections you're chasing on the Maxima. Okay, the next question goes to DJ Chase. He's working on a 2006 Honda Accord, and he applied the Turtle Wax ceramic spray sealant, and he noticed after a few weeks that the real high contact angle of beading was receding a little bit. What I'd like to know, after you were finished polishing, did you use an IPA, clean off the residue? I don't know exactly what polish you use. Oh, Sonax Perfect Finish. Did you go over it with a light 12.5% IPA? Remove the residue before laying that down, making sure that the slate was clear. And then also, something to keep in mind that a lot of people aren't aware of, ceramic coatings. It's not the SiO2 itself that produces the hydrophobic properties. It's some of the formula that is within. There are some ceramic coating kits that have a base and a topper. The base, if I put that on there and gave that back to you, it wouldn't bead incredibly well. It's the topper that produces the super hydrophobic properties to the coating. It's not the SiO2. And that said, there are also, if you take note of ceramic coatings that sheet. So again, SiO2 isn't what makes it bead. It's some of the super hydrophobic properties they inject into the formula. And with some of those spray coatings, the protection will still be there. The SiO2 is still there. It's just some of that formula that has the hydrophobic properties may have worn back a bit. I recommend doing your polish, IPA, make sure it's a clean slate, lay down 2 coatings. I never paint my fence with 1 coating, so put 2 coatings down and maintain it with the other products they have. The wet wax and the detailer and so on in between washes. And that will keep the super hydrophobic properties right there just the way you want them. Okay, a lot of great questions today. Again, guys, you guys are the best. Kyle Cartier is working on a car, and near the bottom of the vehicle, there's a lot of tiny rock chips, almost like it's been sandblasted. They're not all the way through, just it's a nuisance if you get down there and look. There are 2 things that I recommend that I know you can do easily. One is wet sand. Just go over it lightly with 3000 grit, polish it out, and see if that improves it. I wouldn't go too much further because you want to keep as much clear coat down there as possible if you don't have a side skirt or some paint protection film. That is something I would recommend. I honestly am not a fan of PPF. I offer it here and will install it on if it's requested by a customer, especially customers. I have a lot of customers that go to the track with their cars, and it's very important there. But I do not like it. I'm a paint guy, and I do not like it covered with PPF or a film. I don't care how thin it is and how close it is to matching the paint. I don't like anything covering. I don't even like ceramic coatings for the fact that they put a film over the paint. I'm a paint guy, and I love to see rich colors of paint in their natural form. But you can wet sand it, 3000 grit, polish it out, and you can also use Optimum's Clear Coat Restorer and go over the area, let it cure properly. Then you can wet sand and polish the Clear Coat Restorer. I do have a video on that if you want to visit that and take a look at how it's used. Okay, Henry from Hank's Detailing had a great question on when do I decide to use the big red sponge or some very plush microfiber towels when I'm doing a rinseless or waterless wash on a car indoors here. When they're really salty and they come in, I'm going to get a plush microfiber. These are jack of all trades from luxurymicrofiber.com, or you can use the Eagle Edgeless from the Rag Company. Wherever you get them from, guys, that's not important. What is important is I use the big red sponge on something that's lightly soiled. If I have something that comes in with that I can see visually that there's salt and grit hanging on the car, then I'm going to pre-treat it heavily, and I'm going to use these jack of all trades or the Eagle Edgeless. I have a crap load of these soaking in ONR already, ready to go. All right, the next question goes to Frank, and he's working on a 99 F250. It's in a little bit of rough shape. It has a couple miles and it's a little long in the tooth, of course. No big deal. He's looking at the Torx 10 FX polisher, and he wants to also know a couple products I could recommend to go with that. If you're looking at the Torque, which is right now $229, for under $200, you can get the Max Shine 15 Pro or the 21 millimeter polisher. You'd be in better shape. Has a longer throw. You could get more done. And you know, Ford back then had moderate to hard clear coat, so I would look at 3D ACA 500 and 3D1 to be your correction source to go with that polisher. Team it up with Eurofiber 50/50 pad or Buff and Shine pads. Okay, the next question goes to Richard, and he wants to know, across all polishers, does the speed setting stay the same, or does that change drastically from polisher to polisher? For me, pretty much they're going to stay between the 3rd and 4th speed setting throughout all the polishers. And that all depends on what I'm working on, what type of pad I have attached to the polisher, what type of clear coat I'm working on as well. There's a lot of variables there, but for me, it's going to stay between the 3rd and 4th speed setting. There is no reason whatsoever to take a polisher up above the 4.5 tops speed setting. All right, next question goes to Stephen Miller. He wants to know which towels, microfiber towels, do I use for removing polish and compound residue. And then again that will depend on the type of clear coat I'm working on. If I'm working on soft clear coat, it's going to be something like the Edgeless, Jack of all trades, or Eagle Edgeless. Doesn't matter where they come from. But without the edge, you don't have to worry about the stitching. It's plush enough to help reduce scratching on a substrate you already corrected. On harder clear coat, where it doesn't matter all that much, Griot's Garage has edgeless shorter nap. I like shorter nap rags when I can get away with them as much as possible. You see me using these a couple times, and they're pretty much similar to any Costco towel, but best to have edgeless when you're going with a shorter nap. They just seem to remove polishes and compounds a lot better for me, and I just enjoy using them more. Okay, let's take a quick break here and jump into the year-end awards top 3. Last category before we get into the awards series itself, and that will be paste wax, hard wax. Number 1 for me will be the Fuso Coat Soft 99. Second for me will be Angel Wax Enigma. By the way, I have a video on all these except for one, and that will be. Third place goes to the NaviWax Ion Coat. It's very similar to Soft 99, however it's applied with the wet method. I'll cover that eventually, maybe even put them head to head, but I love this wax too, guys. And I'm going to give an honorable mention to the Purist Ceramic Silica Tin Wax. Also very, very good. So that's going to take care of the top 3 year-end awards for being inserted into mail call. I will get to that series by this weekend. It will start a couple videos in the series so I can cover absolutely everything from polishes to protection to tools, absolutely everything. Okay, Matthew Stevens has another great question, and it has to do with wheel coatings. Are they different from just regular coatings for paint? And yes, they are, because a wheel on a street car will reach 400 degrees easily and drop back down quickly. So you have that escalation and decrease of temperature that's really hard on any coating. So the coating has to be able to put up with that type of temperature. On a track car, it can easily reach 1,000 degrees. On a commercial vehicle or heavy vehicle, you're talking of excess of 1,400 degrees. So that takes one hell of a coating. If I have a customer that doesn't order or doesn't want a wheel coat in his package, out of just courtesy, I'll cover his wheel coatings if he wants me to with the leftover coating for the paint. It's not going to last very long because of that heat, but it's better than nothing. All right. Brother Jason Rambert wants to know how many pads I used for the Lincoln Town car I had in just the last video with Turtle Wax Polisher Wax. I mentioned it before, but I use 1 or 2 pads per car, and I will clean that pad out between every pass or 2. And I use the cabinet that I have here. I put it in the blast cabinet and use forced air with a chemical, and that keeps the pad effective. You let it build up with clear coat and polish residue, it's going to become less and less and less effective. And instead of just breaking out 20 of my new pads, it's just personal. For me, I like to use 1 or 2 pads and clean them out between every pass. All right, and the last question will go to Shane Sermon, and he wants to know if you use a wax or a quick detailer in excess, is that going to hurt? Does it keep building up? What happens there? I can tell you with a wax or a quick detailer, they're not going to last long anyway. So if you're applying those after every wash, hey, it's not going to hurt anything. It's only going to build up. So normally after 2 coats of anything, after the 2nd or 3rd coat, it's not going to give you any more benefits adding additional coats. It's just the way things are stacking on top of each other. But a detailer or a wax won't last long anyway, so you'll be perfectly fine. The only thing that I'm concerned about doing that much touching to your vehicle is causing love marks and marring because of all the contact you're making with the car. If you're careful and you're not inducing any, hey, go ahead. Quick detailers, wax, go to it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for mail call today. Great questions again. I will supply the email link down below, and I'll pin it as well so you guys know where to send those great questions. Hey, until the next video, I love you guys. Great questions. I am so psyched that so many people tune in to mail call and want to learn. That's what just this channel is about. And it's great. It's great to see, and I'm more than happy to help as many of you as I can. So we'll catch you in the next one.